Hello everyone, welcome to my vlog, Total Diplomacy. In this episode, I have the pleasure of interviewing Ibu Shadia Marhaban, an international mediator, capacity builder, and activist from Aceh. She was the only female member of the Free Aceh Movement's peace negotiating team in Helsinki that ended the 30 years of conflict. She co-founded the Aceh Women's League and has concentrated her activities on consultation for peaceful dialogues in many conflict areas in Southeast Asia. In the interview, we discussed her experiences as female mediator, the geopolitics and nature of conflicts, as well as her hopes and aspirations to increase the role of women in peace efforts and post-conflict management. Thank you, Ibu Shadia, and to all the viewers. Don't forget to check out the full interview. Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my vlog, Total Diplomacy. Today, I have the honor of interviewing Ibu Shadia Marhaban, an international mediator, for my vlog. Good afternoon, Ibu Shadia. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm fine. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your willingness to join us in this vlog. If I may start, Ibu, could you briefly describe your background and how you started your career in peace negotiation and mediation?
I started actually quite a while ago, a long time ago, and not as a mediator, but I happened to participate in peace negotiation during the Aceh conflict. That was in Helsinki back in 2005. I was living in the United States, and when the leadership of GAM, of the Free Aceh Movement in Sweden, called me for I think to be part of the team. So that's how I started it, and then after that I become very much interested in conflict resolution, conflict management, peace building, and all the topics that relates to peace.
I see. Could you briefly describe over the span of many years the various types of conflict that you have attempted to mediate, perhaps? If you could provide just some examples.
Yeah, I actually particularly interested in separatist movement in Southeast Asia because many of them are basically the same historical claim. We have all these history shaped from the colonial time, so we all experienced the same upbringing after the World War II. So I thought this is something, some kind of starting point of my interest, and also not only with separatist movement, but also with other armed groups. And the reason I'm interested is because I felt that we want to hear more of what their claims. We want to hear more what are their grievances, and I worked so far maybe around 17 countries, but in Southeast Asia mainly is in Thailand, southern part of Thailand, Myanmar, the Philippines. I spent 5 years in the Philippines working with the Bangsa Moro and with the Moro Islamic Liberation Front before the signing of the peace agreement until the signing.
Such an extensive experience, Ibu. I'd like to ask, it is said that there is a 35% increase in the probability of a peace agreement lasting more than 15 years if women are participating in the negotiation table. Do you think such statistics are accurate? And in your view, what are the advantages and disadvantages of being a woman mediator?
Yeah, I think being a woman mediator is there's a different dynamics, of course, just like being in a negotiation table or any other working space. Or I think it's common that women experience different dynamics in every workplace. In particular for mediation, I think what I'm doing currently is just is something that resonates to what I want to do. Like, I like being a mediator. I like to be part of this um, um, engagement, So I think because I love the work and I enjoy so much, So I don't feel like this is part of the like pressure or anything. And actually, being a mediator is also to enhance your experience and also your network. If you have a network in Southeast Asia, you should be brave to open more network outside in Europe and Africa. And my experience working with different international agencies, I can give you an example. When I worked with the Moro Islamic Liberation Front in the Philippines for 5 years, that was before the signing up to the Comprehensive Peace Agreement. So that was a long journey. So mediator have to really invest, in time. You don't want an instant result. You want to get things, in proper place, not too rushed. Of course, there are mediators, like big mediators such as government, mediating the conflict. But my role is really on the community, on camps, working with camps commanders, working with different women organizations in Mindanao. And that actually taught me a lot about being patient with the process. You don't want to expect an instant result. You want to see things going, because your expectation may be high, but actually on the field is not like that, So everything you learn from the textbook doesn't really show, when you work in the field. So really, it's a great experience, and also being a mediator, a women mediator, also we gain a lot of respect, because I think women seems like non-threatening, for them. Though sometimes they kind of, especially if you work with the armed group, sometimes they think like, who are you? You're just a woman, But once you start talking and you know exactly what's the content of the issues that they want to talk, then they start listening to you carefully, So it depends on how you really design the process, how it depends on how you limit, your time and your engagement with them. So they are quite cooperative, and I think many of them, they like to talk, because some of them are not being heard. So just be a good listener, and I think that's how being women mediator is. Just like, people like to talk to you, and I think being with them is quite an extraordinary experience for me, because you don't get this in any universities or courses, but you get this really in the field. The same thing when I work with a FARC group in Colombia, with a female ex-combatant. I participate once in Havana during the peace talks between the FARC and the government of Colombia, facilitated by the Norwegian government. I also had this very open talk with the FARC fighters, and also with some other groups, even the groups that are considered, the T word, by some government. But to engage with dangerous group, you should equip yourself with some knowledge. You cannot just go out there and think, okay, I'm a mediator, I can go there. But you have to really equip yourself with some knowledge, and also be cautious. Yeah.
Wow. Yes, I can imagine how very different it must be from theory and practice. And it's, like you said, it's impossible to expect a quick fix or a quick solution to conflict, especially if they've been occurring for decades. It's not something that can be resolved right away. And even when a peace agreement is achieved, it's not a guarantee that it would be long lasting. So yes, thank you very much for that. And I'd also like to ask your view. As you know, the global landscape, the global security landscape has changed significantly during the past decade, and a lot of the conflicts are very complex in nature, and linked to global challenges such as climate change and transnational organized crime. In your view, in the next 10 or 20 years, what types of conflicts would we be seeing more of?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Actually, many mediators, many consultants, whoever work in peace building and peacemaking community, we all are now thinking about this potential conflict the next 10, 20 years. But I would say it won't be so much different from what we see now, except for some additional thing because of the declining of democracy. So there will be a lot of challenges with regards to justice, equality, racism, so all of this Islamophobia, so things are coming up into the air. But I believe that's for something good, because if this evil thing didn't come out, you don't really see it. So you want this to come out, and then you have to find a solution. For the next potential conflict, I would say it's natural resources, food security, land issues, because land has become more and more shrinking. Space, and also it's no longer maybe a big war, but maybe a border issues with like small countries in Eastern Europe, in Middle East, all of those problems. But I would say the social media also would have a big impact on. Sometimes the social media can be a unifier, but it can also be a divider. So we have to be careful in using the social media. That's why in my work by Yanti, I don't use a lot, because I know I'm talking to like sometimes a group that don't want to be seen by government or by certain people. So I really playing very careful on appearing on social media. And I think that's, as a mediator, you don't have to be out there all the time, but you are there if they need you.
Yes, I agree with you, especially if you take part in sensitive conflict. You really have to maintain the trust of the various parties, and it's important to it's not essential to be in the limelight, especially during such sensitive issues. So I can totally understand.
Confidentiality is very important as a mediator.
And once you lost the trust, it would be very difficult to get it back. So I can absolutely understand the necessity to sometimes stay low under the radar of especially social media that can be a unifier and at the same time divide the various parties. Yes. I'd also like to ask your views. It is said that COVID-19 has shaken the business model of mediation and peace process support. Do you agree with this? And how does this affect women mediators? With the COVID-19 pandemic, do you see an increase or perhaps a decrease in the number of women mediators?
Yeah, I think I don't know if this is my analysis. I'm not really a scholar, but I read a book by Steven Pinker. It was an interesting book called "The Better Angels of Our Nature," and he talked about the actual decline of violence, conflict in the next 50 years. Well, some people were kind of skeptical, talking like, what are you talking about? How come we see more and more people with violence, but he was referring to the old, type of violence. And he talks also about pandemic, and the way I see it, that because pandemic affecting family, affecting the small, community everywhere, not only with the lockdown, I think, for some of us who are, very fortunate that we can sit at home and keep making money. But for some, three quarters of people living in this planet doesn't have that luxury. They have to go out to earn $2 to $5 a day. So it's sad to say that the increasing number of poverty in 2030 it will be staggering, and that will impact women. So I would say women will have more role. Apart, it's a non-threatening, creature, but at the same time, women also have a nature, because when women start talking, in the community start working, they think about their family, think about how to take care of their children, they think about how to provide food on the table. So women will have more voice to say, and they can use actually their capacity to become a mediator. But mediator also comes with nature, and motherhood is also part of it, as a nature to be engaged as a mediator. So I don't know, Bayanti, but I think this COVID maybe will have this number of poverty will increase, but at the same time you will see more women lead. You will see more women in small communities start doing involved in decision making process, or engage in some kind of development, rural, in different parts of the world. So that's how I see it. I don't know.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much for sharing your personal thoughts on this. I think it would be very interesting to see ahead how women actually play a role in these processes in light of the pandemic. And I'd also like to ask you are a member of the steering committee of the Southeast Asian Network of Women Peace Negotiators and Mediators that will be launched at the end of the year. What can you kindly tell us a bit about this network, and what do you hope this network would be able to achieve?
I have to be honest with you. I'm so thrilled. When this network was actually initiated by our foreign minister, and I think this is something that we want to have a small team, or real mediators. As you know, there are many mediators network out there, but we don't see much of their work. So we want to have our own, Southeast Asian model or Southeast Asian style, whatever you want to call it. But I think this will be some kind of our ownership, being part of this regional network. And I think being small also, it's kind of give an opportunity for the women to really engage, to be a high-powered mediators, so-called. I mean, we don't have to be Kofi Annan or Mandela, but I think, well, maybe, inshallah, who knows, one day, right? Nobody knows this, but the way I see it, that the more we engage in different types of conflict, the more we can learn. And I think the women have the capacity. Those women that we have in this network is they have extensive experience, and they work in different countries. So I have very high hope that we can be succeed. Hopefully, inshallah.
Yes, these are very thrilling times, and it's exciting to see that our region will have its own network of mediators. And I think no one knows better and understands better the conflicts in the region than the women, than Southeast Asian people themselves. So, and hopefully it would not be just about our ability of resolving conflicts in the region, but also beyond. I hope could be achieved by the network.
Yes, I think that will be an extra challenge, but I don't think this is impossible.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the women that we have that capacity, to work, and I think the only way to make this work is to really start, to get to work, not just planning, not just meeting, but to get to work and to engage in different types of conflict.
Yeah. And I think it's not just about increasing the number of women, but really contributing in a meaningful manner. Because as you know, I think a lot of the discussions have been about increasing women. But I think that goes far beyond that discussion.
Yes, I do believe that. I think the issue is, like I said, in Indonesia in particular, I don't see women mediators is being blocked or anything. There's so huge opportunity, and why don't we use that opportunity, from small? I know some people just want to be up there, no, you have to start small and to really like put a milestone every 10 years. When I started this 20 years ago, I didn't think that I want to become a mediator, but I just mediate. I went to Nepal and I met with the different, community, and that's how I start. No one telling me what to do. It's just my instinct. I like the work and I enjoy it. So, and then I realized it becomes a career. It becomes a profession. So I started really, really like organic, like meeting them, talking to them, spending time with them, weeks and months, with them. I will never forget this wonderful experience that I spent with many of these communities.
Yeah, I think it's very important to be passionate, to love what you do, and automatically the quality of work would speak for itself when you love what you do.
Yes, exactly. You're right.
And last but not least, do you have any tips or tricks for aspiring young Southeast Asian women who would like to be mediators and negotiators in peace and conflicts with that?
Yes, I think there's not so many tips, I think, but I think it's just to be able to work in your community first, get an endorsement or acknowledgement in your community. That's a good starting point to work nationally or internationally. Like conflict areas, it's also a plus because living in big cities like Jakarta or Bangkok, or Manila, you don't get what really conflict is all about. You don't really feel it. So my professor used to say, feel something, pinch, so you realize how it feels, So it's like feel the conflict is different from just studying your textbook, but you want to meet the people, you want to understand the conflict, you want to learn what makes people suffer. I think the first thing is to build your core as a young mediators. If you want to start, I think to strengthen your core rather than your logic in the beginning, and then you can expand by reading books and all that. When you have the empathy, you have the core, you have the ability to understand others' brain. You can be a good listener, an active listener. So when you talk to someone, you will be seen as problem solver rather than just listening. So you can be seen as problem solver.
Thank you very much, Shadia, for all your insights, for sharing your personal experiences. I'm sure all the viewers of this vlog will find your interview most inspiring. I, for one, am one of those who are inspired by your talks. So thank you again, Shadia, and I wish you the best of luck in all your future endeavors. And I look forward to hearing more about the Southeast Asian Network and your very important role. So thank you again, Shadia, and all the best.
Thank you very much, Bayanti, for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you.
And stay healthy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.